everybody. I'm so happy to share this next hour or so with you to talk about music, to talk about politics, to talk about health. And I'm going to be sharing with friends of mine and some new friends of mine. You'll hear from my longtime producer and music associate, Exile and Blue. You're going to hear from an amazing activist and musician artist himself, Mike De La Rocha. We've just released a compilation album together for social justice called Defund the Police. And you're going to hear from first, I'd like to introduce a voice that I learned about on Instagram. This is one of the smartest people I've seen speak about the COVID pandemic, COVID-19 and the coronavirus. He is Dr. Lane Rolling. He's a medical doctor, a microbiologist, a pathogenic virologist, a trauma surgeon, and he's the director of clinical education and research at the Tropical Pathology and Infectious Disease Association. So without further ado, I'd like to start a conversation with Dr. Lane Rolling. This is going to be, one of my highlights of quarantine, because I've seen him speaking, and I'm so looking forward to sharing in this conversation. So let's add Dr. Lane Rolling to the conversation. Hello, Dr. Rolling.
Hey, how you doing, Aloe? Good afternoon.
I am super. Look, I'm starstruck to see you and to talk to you, because I've been watching so many different discussions that you've been having, of course, on Instagram with Jordan, and also other conversations that you've been having in other platforms. And I really would love for you to share with my audience your vast knowledge about how this pandemic is going, what we can do to stay safe. Yeah, tell us.
Well, Aloe, I'm here for you. I'm thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform so we can share the information, save people's lives in reality. So my question to you is that where do you want me to take this train?
Okay.
Because it's going. So I want you to ask the question that you want to ask, because I'm here for you. I'm here for you and the people.
What is the coronavirus, and why does it have two names, COVID-19 and coronavirus?
Well, that's a misnomer. The COVID-19 is a coronavirus, but COVID-19 really is what we call SARS-CoV-2. It's a beta coronavirus. And a lot of people getting confused because there are two viruses out there, two families of viruses. You have coronavirus, which is general viruses themselves. And then you have what we have, the normal cold, which are four of them circulating in the population. It's an alpha coronavirus. And then we have this virus, COVID-19, which is a beta coronavirus, which is a human pathogen. And this virus is a game changer. This virus has changed history and where we're going for the next 10 years. And this virus is not leaving the population, period.
Why is it so different? What's different from a cold? What's different from the flu?
Because this virus jumped from a bat into man, and this is the largest RNA virus on the planet. Has a lot and lots of mutagenic capability. In fact, this virus is mutating every 2 weeks, becoming more infectious, becoming more stronger. And it has the ability to attach every cell in your body, your brain cells, your eyes, your tongue, your throat, your heart, your lungs, your gastrointestinal tract. It crosses the placenta to affect fetuses. It affects every coronary artery vessels in your body. That is why when people end up getting sick and they die, they have strokes all over their body. So this virus, when we look at this virus is more infectious than Ebola. This virus is more infectious than HIV. This virus is more infectious than influenza. This virus is more infectious than SARS and MERS. This is a Cadillac virus that has jumped from an animal into man, and it has great transmission, not just through aerolize or air, but also through fecal transmission. It lives in the feces for 35 days.
Dr. Rolling, I have not heard any of this information from the top levels of our science community at the White House. Why are they not saying this, expressing it this way?
Because to be realistic with you, and I don't want to toot my horn, but I'm only 1% of the people on the planet certified chemical and biological warfare. I am the only American scientist that teaches at the Hydropathic Institute in Germany, pathogen virology. And I know for sure, I've been working in the jungles of Peru for the last 20 years doing real world missions and treating epidemics like Zika, chikungunya, yellow fever in real patients and stuff. So their experience is what they have. I have my experience, but I'm the guy that has 5 degrees, 2 doctorate degrees, and I think I'm pretty qualified in this area.
You're telling me that this disease mutates, and it mutates really quickly. How then are they doing tests for antibodies? Does that even matter? If you have antibodies and it's mutating, do you have the right antibodies for next week?
No, you don't. And you're
Oh no, don't tell me that.
Hey, I can give you the Dr. Roland version. I can give you the Mickey Mouse version. What you
I want, dang, man. Let's go to Disneyland.
Well, this virus is mutating so fast. And one of the reasons why the antibody test they use is unreliable because they can't get all the different possible mutations. In fact, there's 40 different strains of it right now. Plus it's still mutating every 2 weeks. So for you to have a comprehensive antibody test to make the diagnosis of COVID-19 to be accurate, we're talking like 99% specificity and sensitive, you have to have every possible combination. That's why the flu shot doesn't work. And so your question would be, is there going to be a vaccine? No.
All right, I think we're going to have to end this right here, Dr. Roland. I don't know if I trust what's going on. No, I'm joking. I really do trust what you're saying. And I've heard you say this before. I heard you say it early on in the first discussions. And I've been really looking for more information. And so I went to do some research. What is an RNA virus? This is an RNA virus. And is there a vaccine for RNA viruses?
Well, let's keep it real. There are 2 sets of viruses that you have. You have DNA virus, you have RNA viruses. DNA viruses are very stable. But when it comes to the pathogen world, evolution, RNA viruses are very, very difficult to treat. We do not have a vaccine for HIV. We spent 30 years working on that, and we still don't have a vaccine. We do not have a vaccine for dengue. We do not have a vaccine for Zika. We don't have a vaccine for chikungunya. This is the reality. We do not have a vaccine for Ebola. These are RNA viruses, and it's very difficult, almost improbable, to make a vaccination that has something that can catch with all the mutations that these viruses have. So RNA viruses are the Cadillac. In fact, bats carry over 1,000 RNA viruses. They've been carrying them since the prehistoric dinosaur days. And so this is the straight science. You've heard me say it. If you understand the science, you understand the medicine. If you understand the medicine, you have to know the science. That's
Okay.
just...
All right. So in order to create a vaccination, you would have to know all the possible mutations. In order to know all the possible mutations, you need something like quantum computing and artificial intelligence to make that happen. But you would have to manufacture them, right? You'd have to manufacture them. In order to do that, you'd have to genetically modify one so that you can manufacture its potential mutation, correct?
Absolutely. And this is just this is the basic concept of science. You know, everybody's talking about this immunization, this vaccine they're going to come out with. Let me just break it down to you folks. They're going to probably come up with a vaccine because they spend a lot of money on companies that never made vaccines before. I'm not going to get the vaccine, and my grandchildren are not going to get the vaccine. I'm going to wait for everybody else to get the shot, and then I'll do the science on it. But the reality is that you're not going to be able to catch up with this virus because this virus is always mutating. It is a game changer. So for you to have a vaccination, you would have to have every possible combination, immunogenic capabilities of this virus. You would, like I said, you would have to have Star Trek type of technology to make that hypothetical guess what it's going to be a year from now.
See, I don't think it's totally impossible. I believe in the possibility of our the smartest brains in computing and then the smartest brains in science to be able to try to come up with what are the computer models for the mutations that are possible and then try to manufacture them. But that's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of money. And then it's impossible to test it. This is the issue. it's impossible to test it because you need human test cases. And usually when it comes to vaccine, you just need enough people to get sick. So if enough people get sick, that's just basically genocide. You can't let enough people get sick, right? Because
Well, I'm following your lead. I mean, but the reality is that this is where we're going. It's sad to say that, I've been doing push-ups my whole entire life for this moment in my time, and this is what I've been built for. And I work in South America. I love your country. I go through Panama every month for the last 15 years. I know what's happening to the people. What's the COVID-19. I've had friends of mine that have died in the last 3 weeks, 22 doctors, they're not coming back. So I understand that. I'm a guy of optimistic hope. And having optimistic and hope is understanding the science of where we're going to go. But you folks have to have the real information about washing your hands. What are some of the biosecurity safety protocols to protect yourself? And then you have to also understand that the CDC has a shot called the influenza shot. It says that it's 25% effective. It's probably 10% effective. Why are they pushing a vaccine that doesn't work?
okay,
And this is
right,
basic on vaccine
right.
technology.
So okay, we talked about some really heady science, but let's get down to what it is that people can do in their own homes and just to keep safe. So is the mask an issue or a non-issue?
Well, I'm going to give you the biosecurity expert I am, and I've been dealing with these diseases for many years, and I've never got infected with diseases. I've had friends die from Ebola. I've had people get sick and die from multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. I haven't got it because I understood the real biosecurity and biosafety protocols. So for one, a mask is a mandatory first line defense that you're going to be wearing for the next 5 years. That's a fact.
What kind
That
of mask?
doesn't matter. Okay, when you're in public general, it could be a cloth mask, it could be an N95, a regular mask. But when I'm on an airplane, I'm wearing the super space mask because I fly a lot, because the virus is more concentrated in that disc area. So when you fly, you want to have the best mask that you can have flying. But when you're out in public, New York, whatever, you can get away with a mask. And make sure you change that mask on a regular basis. Don't wear the same mask every day if you have a disposable one. If you have a mask that's cloth, make sure you clean it. But that mask is going to protect your life because it's going to decrease the amount of viruses you're going to be infected by from the internal, external environment.
Okay, so I took a flight January 30th. I knew that this idea of a coronavirus is around. I was like, I'm not taking no chances. A couple weeks earlier, I ordered some goggles. I had a mask. I had gloves. I was covering my mucous membranes. Is it possible to get COVID into your eyes?
Yes, it is. And that's
Uh-oh.
what I'm going to, yeah. We've had cases where people got infected in the eyes because in the eyes, in the mucous membranes in the eyes, you have also ACE2 inhibitors. And that's where the virus attaches to. So it can get in your eyes. I think probably by September, October, I'm going to make another announcement on that. On one of the things that another part of the protection mechanism is that people are going to have to wear eyewear when September, October, November comes, because guys, the second storm is coming. You guys haven't seen what's going to happen.
Get your Kurt Rambis and your James Worthy goggles.
That's right.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely.
I got mines.
Yes, I do too. I got mines too.
Wow. Okay. So the mask is necessary. Absolutely 100%.
Well, the second thing is, I would say, washing your hands.
Okay. How?
Let me repeat this to everybody. Washing your hands with soap and water. If you wash your hands with soap and water, you have a possibility of getting sick and dying. That's a fact. Soap and water does not kill viruses. It's in the World Health Organization, a scientist, virologist. We've known this for years. Because washing your hands with soap and water only removes excretions, secretions, debridement of dirt, etc., but does not cure microorganisms. So our recommendation is to make sure that you have the best antiseptic hand wash, also the best antiseptic desanitizer for your hands. And we have that at my company, SRS. That's just a fact.
You had mentioned Hibiclens early on, so I got some Hibiclens. And
Yeah.
is that an antiseptic hand wash?
Antiseptic hand wash, but we made it better. We've taken it and we made it better.
Oh,
So
got it. Okay.
yeah, we made it better. I took our technology that we know as scientists, weapons guys, and biophysics, and we made it. So we have our antiseptic hand wash, not just for adults, we also have it for children. Then we also have the best hand desanitizer, disinfectant on the market. Our stuff lasts 5 hours up to 24 hours, and it kills viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Fact.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So washing hands, what is it that is about soap that everybody thinks it is? I heard that soap helps to break down the
Lipids.
lipid membrane.
Yeah, but that's folks, that's part of the mechanism of action of it. But when it comes to viruses, soap does not kill viruses.
It doesn't kill it.
Yeah, it's just, the solution to pollution is dilution. Washing your hands with water is great because you dilute the amount of microorganisms on it. But the stuff that has to kill your hands is what we use in our weapons laboratory, what we use in surgery, what I prep my hands with is the same stuff that Hibiclens has, but we made it better with our product. We made it modified. We made it Cadillac to give us the results that I can certify and that I can sleep very well at night, that children and adults will be able to, have a good outcome and not a speculation based off of fact and science.
Right. Interesting. Okay. So can you explain this concept of an aerosol disease? What other diseases have we experienced in this way that is transmitted just through the air? And talk to us about, what is it, viral load?
Okay.
And super spread.
Okay, let me explain this to people. In the world of biological warfare, when we're trying to affect a whole entire city or the battlefield, we want stuff to become aerolized. One of the things that have been aerolized over the years is anthrax, the plague. We take that, we weaponize it, we want it to be aerolized because once something is aerolized, it can affect people more efficient. You have a higher viral load. When we say viral load, that means you have much more viruses. When you have an infection on the theoretical level, we have a number called 10 to the 5th power, 10 to the 5 power. After anything above 10 to the 5, 10 to the 7, 8, 9, 12, you get a massive infection. So when we want things to be aerolized and we want to have a significant higher viral load, that's very important in airborne diseases. So anthrax is a prime example of that. Measles is another one because measles is the most infectious infectious disease on the planet. It has an R0 number of 12. One person gets measles, they can infect 12 people.
12 people.
One gets COVID-19 or SARS, they can infect up to 3 to 5 people.
Wow. Okay, so that's an aerosol disease, and so you're saying that the viral load is about the amount that you receive at any. That's what the purpose of a mask is, to reduce your viral load.
Absolutely. And then when people do not have that mask barrier, you breathe that in. Somebody coughs in your face with COVID-19, the chance of you getting sick and dying is very high. You have that mask on there, it drops that rate down to almost 3%, almost negligible. But you're not going to have anybody coughing in your face. But that's a prime theoretical. That's a fact. There's nothing to argue about that. And then we can talk about hands too.
So viral load is also related then to immune system, right? If you have a strong immune system, that is helping to determine whether your viral load is going to be sufficient enough to make you sick.
Well, that's true too. If your immune system, in evolution, there's always a percentage of the population is resistant. That's just survival of the fittest. We have communities of people in Africa that are HIV resistant. That's just the way it is. HIV's been around for, since beginning. So there are people that have genetic resistance in their genes that prevent them from happening. And another good example is that sickle cell anemia. Well, sickle cell anemia is a genetic mutation for people not to get malaria. Black people lived in Africa, malaria is endemic. So there was a genetic mutation to not have malaria, and that's sickle cell became that genetic thing, which is great, but it's bad. And it's the same thing with this virus. It attaches to cells, and viral load is very important. So right now we have no immunity to this. We have hell of a viral load, And that's why we get the infection that we have.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see. You said something about hands. So is there a viral load that comes from your hands potentially going to your mucous membranes?
Absolutely. And I want people to understand that probably one of the most contaminated and contact place of getting the infection, folks, is in the bathroom. In fact, people carry COVID-19 on the bottom of their shoes. In fact, one of the biggest transmission is 25% is feces. So you can imagine being on a plane, in the airplane, you can, in the bathroom on an airplane. You can imagine going to McDonald's, some public, they flush that toilet, that feces becomes aerolized all over the door handle, the windows, the bottom of your shoes, and then that virus can live in the feces for 35 days. So another thing is to break that transmission. That people need to understand the transmission of the disease, but they also need to understand that you better make sure you wash your hands, make sure your bathroom is taken care of, and having the best products for that to make sure you're disinfecting as actually killing COVID-19.
Wow. So that's the end of public toilets for me.
I never really used public toilet, man. You think about it. I went to a restaurant in Vegas, Aloe. I kid you not, man. This was back in February, brother, because they wanted me to look at the biosecurity protocols. I go in there, man. These guys, this restaurant, they're making like $500,000 a day. So I was in there just sitting because I had to observe people, how they do their habits. So I followed a guy into the bathroom. Guy went in there, took a dump, came out, didn't wash his hand, touched the door handle, touched the rail, then gave the girl a credit card, and that guy spent $50,000 on that dinner. I was like, wow.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. But now you just telling me, like, just walking in and the aerosols that end up landing on the floor and getting on the bottom of your shoes, it's like, damn, I'm gonna have a pair of shoes just to get into my car. I gotta have a new pair of shoes to get into my house.
No, what you're gonna have to have, I'm seriously, and this is one brother talking to another brother on saving people's lives. And I believe in technology. The thing that you have to have is ProGuardium, which is a spray solution that kills COVID-19. You can spray it on your bottom of your feet, your hands, your whole body. You can use it, in fact, dogs carry COVID-19 too. So we tell people to make sure when your dog goes outside and comes back into the house, you better be disinfecting your dog's feet because dogs can carry COVID-19 in the house also.
Yep. Okay. See, that just makes it, a situation where it's almost impossible unless you really, really dramatically transform your personal habits.
Right.
It's impossible. And it's going to take a lot of cultural shift, So I'm glad we get to have this conversation because getting people to understand the severity and then what you're saying, the transmission of, right? I'd love to see a flow chart because that flow chart visually, we're talking about it and it'll go up and it's going to be archived for people to listen to, but they got to listen through 20 minutes of conversation, a visual, diagram of how this is transmitted. It's going to be really helpful. So I'll try to get someone to make that.
No, I can have my doctors that work for me. We can come up with a flow chart for it. We'll send you a flow chart on a transmission disease so you can share that with your platform. Because I think it's very important because a lot of people are running around here listening to Fox and CNN and getting all this misinformation. We've started talking, me and you, back in February. Everything I've said has happened.
Yeah.
And I have not, you cannot discredit whatever I said because my stuff is based off of reality and my experience in the real world. And so I'm going to tell you right now, when September, October, and November comes, I promise you, a lot of people are going to be crying.
It's because we're already at the beginning of the second wave. And what you're talking, you say no?
No, we're not even at the first wave, brother.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is just the introduction. This is the intro.
This is the intro. We're at the top of getting to the top of the roller coaster. We haven't got the wave yet.
Okay. And to look at a country like New Zealand, who clamped down early, got people to wear their masks, got people to social distance, and they have eliminated the disease. Is it still, in your opinion, is it still in New Zealand, just dormant somewhere, or is it gone?
It's in New Zealand. Don't be fooled by that thing that there's nobody in that society that actually has that disease. Somebody in New Zealand has that disease. In fact, one way you can prevent what people don't want to have the real results is that you just don't test people. If you don't test people, you don't have any cases. But that's why testing is very critical in the containment and mitigation of diseases. And that's the problem that we're going to have as a people. When you don't have all the information, you cannot have the full results. You can't, it's like you're a musician, you can't have a half a note. You got to have the whole note as a musician. And we have to have all the information in the world of the infectious diseases.
How long does it last in your body? And does it ever go away if you have it?
Well, that's a very good question. We're still at the early beginning of the diseases, but I can give an example. This is what we call the similar HIV. Once the individual gets HIV, you never, ever get rid of the virus. The virus will go inside your brain and go dormant. It goes to sleep. And that virus will sleep in your brain for 15, 20 years. We have a thing that we say in our business, never bet against the virus. Let me say that again, never bet against the virus. The virus are very smart. I always ask my students, do viruses have a conscience? Do they think?
Wow. Dr. Rowling, this has been extremely enlightening. I learned more in this conversation than I've learned over the past few months. And I've been listening to you, but these questions that I was able to ask and the answers that you're able to give is really helpful. You mentioned a spray for your shoe again, ProGuardia?
Yes, ProGuardium is the number one.
ProGuardium.
ProGuardium, ProGuardem, made by SRS Inc. They're the only company in the United States that has this technology that kills COVID-19. When we say kill COVID-19, we're not talking about it was tested like Clorox or Lysol against a coronavirus like. This was actually tested against COVID-19 and killed it 150%.
Wow.
That's the powerful thing. And I thank you for giving me an opportunity. And I hope to God that we'll meet one day. And brother, I would love to go take you to Peru to see the people that are in the jungles and meet these folks, and go to Panama and go up into the jungle part of your country and help people and save other people's lives.
I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you so much for your work and the commitment to saving lives that you've made. Appreciate you, Dr. Rowling.
No, thank you. And you have a good one and have a super fantastic day.
Thank you so much. Peace.
Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.
Oh, friends and family. That was Dr. Lane Rowling. You can find him on Instagram at DrRollling, Dr. Rowling. Honestly, one of the smartest and most informative minds that I've seen speaking about the coronavirus so far. And there's a lot of talk. There's talking coming from the White House. There's talk coming from the streets. There's conspiracy theory talk. It doesn't matter if it is a conspiracy. At this point, you need to protect yourself, because you could contract the disease, be asymptomatic, and be spreading it if you're not wearing a mask. It's important to protect yourself and your family. Wear the mask, wear the goggles if you have some, and wear gloves if you want, but just wash your hands properly with antiseptic hand wash. Make sure you wash the bottom of your shoes, or take your shoes off before you go in the house. And like he said, this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. People talking about a first wave and a second wave, and he's suggesting that we haven't even really hit the first wave yet. So, we're gonna see how this plays out, but all of us have a role to play. Now, he mentioned in New Zealand that the disease is potentially just dormant there. Now, they don't have any active cases that they can report. He's suggesting maybe they're not testing properly, but I think if we can get the disease down to a way lower number of active reporting cases, then we can at least try to have some semblance of normalcy, and not have to live in this warlike state of mind. Thank you so much again to Dr. Rowling. Thanks to Jordan for bringing her dad out to share all that information with people, so that we can see some truth coming from a true professional.